right, hello everybody. I'm back. Sorry, last week there was no stream and I forgot to make any announcements. But the thing is that I'm sick. I was sick by then, still sick now. I might have corona. I don't know. I made a test and it said it was negative, but still all the symptoms looks or feel like it could be. But yeah, anyway. So my voice is a little bit strange and I'm coughing quite often. So hopefully I can mute my microphone while I do that. And I will try not to force my voice too much. So maybe I will not speak so much. I don't know. Well, we'll see. But yeah, so last week I was sick and I had a lot of fever. So yeah, I didn't even thought about the stream, sadly. So yeah, anyway. Bilal, hello, how are you doing? Thank you. I'm fine. I'm mostly fine. It's just that I'm still sick, basically, but I'm okay. So yeah, it's been quite a while that we've been dragging this illustration, the one with Henry Cavill. And since there's been so many things happening that have altered my plans, that meant that this illustration has suffered and has taken way longer than I anticipated. But anyway, here we are. I would say it's almost done. So it's a few things here and there, but I feel a little bit tired of it. And well, at least I hoped that by taking some time of the illustration, also I would manage to look at it with fresher eyes and with a little bit more renewed energy into it. So yeah, we'll see. Juan Toledano, hey man, how are you? Welcome. How are you doing? Yes. I hope that you had fantastic weeks so far. Yeah, what can I say? Aside from myself from being sick, it's been still completely obsessed with the war in Ukraine and with all our relatives that we have there, and so yeah, still quite stressful. So yeah, it's keeping most of my energy, and it's quite a struggle to focus on work and stuff like that. Still I'm trying my best, but yeah, it is a little bit difficult. On that subject, still the thing with the censorship on our station, it's still happening. I still haven't heard anything from them. They haven't replied to my 2 emails. And I know for a fact that there are plenty of other artists that are suffering the exact same type of censorship or similar. So this is becoming something pretty big, I would say. And I'm not going to say much yet, because still developing and unfolding. But I'm getting some information which is not that surprising, to be honest, but but still very telling, that very probably the FSB is involved in this whole thing. For those of you that don't know what the FSB is I'm just saying how they say it in Russian, but yeah, basically the former KGB, now with its new name for the Russian Federation. So yeah, this is this allegedly, and yeah, I'm pretty certain of it. All these all these problem with censorship on our station has something to do with the war of information that the Kremlin is doing simultaneously in many mediums, and one of them is on the internet and in any type of platform, public platform, right? So, and in this case, our station. So they are basically monitoring the internet, and they have people paid for it to see where there is voices critical with the policies and actions and narrative that the Kremlin has, and they deliberately target to silence those voices. So in this case, for those artists that are publishing things not only on our station but in other social media, they are basically reporting that art. They are trying to do as much as they can to force the removal of that art by trolling on the comments and say lots of things, so they kind of force and say that this is abuse and all these things. And I believe that's what is happening as well on our station. But the problem is that of how that affects and in which place and responsibilities live in our station, and by default Epic Games, because they are not addressing the issue. And by now they should fully aware of what is happening, because not just by my emails, but plenty of people are contacting them. A lot of people, and on the hundreds, and they are still radio silent on the matter. So yeah, it's pretty it's pretty disappointing. Sullivan, me and a mate were joking that you always put scars on your Space Marines and Primarchs. Yes. You are pretty damn right. I always do. I mean, come on. Look at them. They are fantastic. Yes. I am fully aware, and it's very intentional. So yeah, to put to rest, at least for now, unless you have some questions. But the thing with censorship on our station, yeah, we'll see what happens. Things are still happening, and yes, and I'm hopeful that they will have to do some public announcements at some point. I really hope so. So yeah, we'll see. But it's for now, it's extremely disappointing. Their stance as a company, and that they are deliberately just trying to avoid to engage in this issue, try to solve it, and to make a statement as well. So yeah. But yeah, going back to the Russian bots and the SSB, it's not surprising, but and to be, I'm pretty sure that if I would, I mean, I'm actually up for it. If you want, if you are, if you are up for hosting some trolls on the chat, but I can assure you that if I show my illustration on the stream and or I do another illustration with the theme of the war on Ukraine, which I'm actually thinking for coming streams. I bet you anything that we will get visited by people that have never been around, and they're gonna be here just to troll and to try to steer as much chaos and and yeah, basically to troll as good Russian bots, and they are paid by Russia to do that. So yeah, I'm actually considering to do another another illustration on the subject, but this time not so much. Sorry, not so much about Ukraine itself, but just as a piece of what's the word in English? Yeah, sorry, I it will come soon. But just the main subject of Putin and depict him as in a very unflattering way, you could say. So very political type of illustration, and so yes. But I'm thinking that if I decide to do that during the stream, I would actually need some of you to become admins to help me out a little bit to deal with these trolls, because I mean, trust me, they are professional trolls, as I'm saying. So paid by the intelligence service of Russia to do that. So it's not random people, but they are deliberately attacking and targeting those that they deem worth to attack. So, and in what way? Even though this illustration that I did, which I did pretty fast, kind of like impromptu, so I'm not that happy with it. I think it's pretty blunt and yeah, not too sophisticated, one could say. But it is what it is. Yeah, something made out of frustration and pretty fast. But still, the fact that it got so much attention from these people in some way, you could say that it's kind of flattering. But yeah, anyway. David De Luca, hi Miguel, long time no see. How are you? I heard that you have relatives in Ukraine. I didn't know about that. Hope they are doing fine. What a tragedy. I'm so sorry. Yeah. Hello, man, and welcome, like always. And yeah, it is. Sorry. It's my wife's relatives because she's half Ukrainian. So yeah. For now, they are fine, sort of. One nephew, like one distant relative, died. Actually, a young man, 29 years old. He was killed in one bombardment. So yeah, it is not good, but most of everybody, they are fine. They all live in Kiev, so it seems that for now, Kiev it's kind of avoided something that could have been very, very nasty. We were very worried that the Russians would finally do this big attack if they managed to encircle the city, but they were defeated by the Ukrainians, so that is good. So that means that our relatives, they are not in so dire situation as they were before the Russians left the outskirts of Kiev. So, but yeah, but still, it's not good. My wife's godmother, she's living with us at the moment, and some of the other relatives, they are displaced within Ukraine. So yeah, I mean, yeah, it is a tragedy for sure, and it is very stressful and very angering, and yeah, what can I say? So I'm a very fiery type of person, and when I'm this frustrated, I need to vent somehow. And well, one of those things or those ways is creating or painting. So that's why I'm building enough frustration and anger at this moment with Mr. Putler that I'm thinking to do another illustration with him as the centerpiece in not a very flattering way. So yeah. Would you like me to do that during the stream? Even though, yeah, I'm certain that we will get visited by trolls, Russian bots. But yeah, I would love to hear what you. Sorry, if you are up to it, still, I would have to. I'm not. I'm not sure if I want to do that to avoid problems, but I might be up for it, at least for now. Seb Posada, hola, ¿qué tal estás? Bienvenido. Yeah, thanks. I did, like I said, he He's the nephew of a cousin, so it's kind of I don't know him, or but yeah, still affecting within the family. So, but yeah, thank you. Pontus, thanks for the like, man. But yeah, going back to this proposition of doing this illustration during the stream, then I would need some help policing the chat. I would need some volunteers to become admins. I'm guessing because at the moment I think it's only me who can do that. Yeah. So on other things, I'm afraid that the interview that I was going to do with Paul Dayton is not going to happen at the end. Sadly, he got cold feet with it. I believe I'm not certain of it, but I think it's because of all the problems that Game Workshop voiced about doing it. So he decided. I think I'm not sure, but that he decided not to go with it just in case. So quite a shame because, well, of course he's the absolute best, and yeah, it would have been a fantastic interview, and even though I was planning to not focus at all into Games Workshop, but just on him as an artist and his experience, and yeah. So I'm absolutely certain that it would have been super interesting interview for everybody to learn from such a master. But yeah, who knows? Maybe he would reconsider in the future. Who knows? But I'm trying to interview some other artists as well, other beasts of artists. So let's see what happens there. So yeah, I'm sorry about that because I said that it was going to happen, and we agreed that we were going to do that. So that's why we were planning it for a long time, but I waited until the very end just to be sure that we were going to do that, and I had like a confirmation that we were going to do that, and I did. So that's why I decided to make it public, and also to give you guys an opportunity to write some questions. But at the very, very last moment, he decided just to reconsider and not to do it, sadly. So, but such is life. Juan Toledano. Interesting. What do you mean? Sorry, I just missed. So I don't know in one context. Seb, yeah, Jaime and Alvaro, yeah, for sure. They are. Yeah, actually, Jaime, he published, I think today, a post on Instagram, which is like insane. Insane. And of course, it wouldn't be my stream if I wouldn't mention the tutorial about how to paint Space Marines, right? So I'm very happy to say that it's moving forward. Now, episode 1 and 2 are completely finished, and I'm almost done with half of the third episode. And I will finish it pretty soon, and that will leave us with the last episode. So far, the whole tutorial series will be made of 4 episodes. The 4th episode is going to be the easiest to edit, so that will take me very little time in comparison with the others. So yeah, and I'm pretty close to start publishing them on YouTube. So yes, damn, what I am going to do, what I am going to talk during my streams once I'm done with the tutorials. My goodness. Yeah, Jaime, he's a beast, and and Alvaro as well. I mean, both of them are just insanely talented. I Well, I'm talking about artists. Also, Phil Moss, he published 2 days ago or something another illustration on Instagram, which was I loved it as well. I mean, the team of illustrators that they have is just insanely good, and not just good illustrators, but very inspiring artists, which is a completely different thing. It's I myself as a fan, I I find it so absolutely delicious to see new art, and art that can still manage to captivate me, my imagination, the fantasy of the universe of 40K, and they manage to do that constantly. It is insane. I love it. It's not just about making cool looking pictures, but it's just to expand the universe visually, and also to trigger this level of suggestion, right? Which, by the way, I'm going all over the place, but that kind of reminds me of my course on CGMA about visual narrative. So I'm just got reminded, because that's what my course is all about. And just a reminder, in case you are interested or you know of somebody that could be interested, the new term will start the 17th of April, so in 2 weeks. It's a 8-week long course with lessons, pre-recorded lessons, homeworks, and then I will give you feedback weekly to those homeworks, and then we will have weekly an hour-long Q&A session, and that for during 8 weeks. So yeah, 17th of April. Narrative illustration and characters. It's called on CGMA, CG Master Academy. So yeah, going back to the beast of illustrators that they have is, yeah, they are doing an absolutely brilliant work, because they are not just doing cool looking images or illustrations, or just depicting things that already exist, but they are just visualizing and the fantasy itself, right, of this fictional universe, trying making it more plausible and believable, visually speaking, and in a very suggestive and fresh way. So I love the fact that they are willing to expand by adding new things and fresh that are not necessarily shown on the tabletop game through miniatures. So they are going beyond that. That is awesome. Juan Toledano, yes. Okay, I meant to talk with Paul Dayton, even if it's not about Warhammer, but more focus on in his work as an artist. Yeah, to be honest, that's the part that interests me the most, and always been, and that's what I wanted to focus on the most, because I'm the who I admire is not Paul Dayton as Warhammer illustrator, but Paul Dayton, the artist, the illustrator, just as a whole, right? That happens to work for Games Workshop, and but yeah, and with his all the experience that he has, I mean, he would have plenty of super interesting things to share with everybody. So, yeah. Pontus, Henry is looking incredible. Thank you, man. He's doing all right. I've been I've been so distracted these weeks, right? That How are you doing, Pontus? By the way, because the day after we met, I got sick, super sick. Well, I'm still sick. So I'm wondering if you are okay. Seb, Jaime is a madman. Yes, 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 he is. Patrick, Games Workshop dropped a job ad for a full-time illustrator a couple of days ago, I think. Very talented team indeed. Yes, I think so as well. I'm not sure, but yeah, it rings a bell. But yeah, they are insanely talented. And the thing is that, and this is one of the things that I try to teach on my course, and try to make the shift to my students, and is that ultimately, as an artist or as an illustrator, you don't want to just to master the technical side of the craft, right? Um, because that, yeah, of course, that's very very important, but it's not. It is not the most important thing. It's vital, you have to master the technical aspects of painting and all that. But that is just a tool. You need to be able to communicate, to tell something with your art, and the only way to do that is to understand visual narrative and to have a change of perspective into how to engage your work. And I think they do that masterfully on the Games Workshop book team. And yeah, so in order to, of course, I'm not speaking on their behalf, and I don't know exactly what they are looking, but I could give a guess, and that guess is that they are not looking for just somebody that can paint Space Marines or technically speaking, but somebody that can offer something else that can trigger this suggestive power through their work, that can compel the viewer to immerse themselves into the universe of 40K or fantasy or anything through the illustrations. So it's not just about being technically correct or good, but to be able to communicate something with that illustration. Yeah. Okay. Mm. But yeah, I think I mentioned it some time ago. I have some plans for the stream. Um, so for some time, I've been thinking to do like some series of illustrations, like fan art, Warhammer fan art, with certain narrative on them, in the sense of doing some kind of sequential um, um, illustrations to tell a concept of the very grim idea of how cruel and unforgiving and raw the war is through the lenses of certain characters. So in the way that we always get these very epic depictions, right, of, let's say, a space marine, about, yeah, this captain with hundreds of years of campaigns, and he's a hero, a paladin of humanity, blah 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 blah. But he might just die in the most silly way possible, like through like a very lucky, I don't know, last gun shot from a sniper somewhere, or he might end up like a trophy on an orc war boss, and we never see that like stories in that way. So I was thinking to do a series like focus on that, like focusing maybe on a trophy and saying, yeah, who was this trophy? I mean, this skull that is attached to the leg of a titan, maybe belong to a mighty hero, and look where it end up, like so many tales of glory and blah blah blah, and that is just bullshit, because look where he end up and stuff like that. You get the sense of what I'm trying to say. So that's kind of the angle, like a very very grim um, side of the stories. You know what? I don't like this guy. I'm gonna redo it. PDPDP. So I'm with this type of idea. I'm always thinking like, yeah, I don't know, this story of, yeah, this mighty warrior, like the I don't know, the vanquisher of this and that, of this campaign and that, and armies have surrounded to him, and he has or she has done so many mighty things, and blah 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 blah, and all of that for nothing, because just he's planning to like have this ultimate fight with the chaos lord, like a confrontation, like on top of a hill, very epic and everything, but he never get there because his transport get vaporized, and there he goes with no glory, with no nothing, just gone. And maybe his skull become a trophy for a chaos paladin or something, and on that line, and for different type of characters in that way. So I was planning to dedicate the stream to something of that kind, because I thought it was an interesting take, um, something that could be pretty cool and fun, and to do a series of illustrations, maybe not very elaborate, not very high end, but more kind of rough and straight to the point, but still maybe, I mean, not exactly, but maybe some closer to what could be a graphic novel of something of that kind. But yeah, and that is if I if I don't do this other illustration with Putin. uh, And to be honest, I have plenty of illustrations that I started during the stream and I have never finished. Like the orc adventurer, like Perturabo Primarch as a demon prince. Still, I haven't touched it since I last painted it on stream quite a long time ago. Um, so I will definitely will have to get back to some of those illustrations to finish them. uh, Pondus, I did not get sick. Hope you get better soon. It was a lot of fun going out. I was in Amsterdam on a wedding this weekend. I had an amazing time. Oh, nice. Yeah, it was very fun indeed. It's been such a long time without going out. It was great. Um, David De Luca, I have a question. Can you recommend any art, movie, graphic novel, whatever, with sci-fi theme in the style of Warhammer 40k and Dune? Um, Let me think. Movie. Warhammer 40k and Dune, man. Difficult to say, just out of my head. Now, in terms of graphic novels, it comes to mind one specific one. Just let me give me a second. I will show you. Um, it's not Warhammer 40k. It's more Warhammer Fantasy, but it is very Warhammerish, and of course, because it's done by Adrian Smith, and it's Chronicles of Hate. Let's see if you can see it. Yeah, Chronicles of Hate, an absolutely masterpiece, um, in my humble opinion. It's it is fantastic. Let me just show some random. Every frame is like a painting, but it's very rough and crude. Everything is in black and white. Um, but it's epic. It's is the right word. Let's see something that can make justice. Man, well, I don't know. anything that I pick, it's too good. But well, of course, this doesn't make justice, right? But I can assure you, is a masterpiece. So yeah, Chronicles of Hate, and that's what I can think out of my mind just right now. Well, and of course, like Ponte says, the Astartes uh, series on what I was going to say in YouTube. It is not on YouTube anymore, but yeah, the animated series. But I'm sure you know about it already, right? um, oh, and of well, this is not related with what we were talking about, but of course, I mean, I have to mention it now live since it was announced just a few days ago. There is a release date for Warhammer 40k Darktide. Finally, now it's made public. I cannot tell you how excited I am. Have any of you seen the trailer they released for the announcement of the release date? If not, if you want, I can play it during this. I can play it now in case you haven't seen it, and if you want, it's pretty tiny and so it's not very revealing, but it's just a sneak peek um, on what is on store. Frederic, hey Frederic, how are you doing? Welcome. Very nice to see you around. Uh, I'm okay. I'm sick, so it is okay. But yeah, it is it's fine. How about you, man? How are you doing? Uh, Frederic, can I suggest you a character design that could be interesting? Yeah, sure, of course. Please shoot. David De Luca, I haven't seen Astartes yet. Sounds interesting. Thank you. I will check it out. Okay, David De Luca, if you haven't seen it, it is a must. It is the absolute. Now it is official, even though when it was done, it wasn't official. It is, in my humble opinion, is the absolute best depiction of Space Marines in a audiovisual medium. It is 3D animation and is 10,000 times better than anything that has been done before or after, fan or official made. All these new fancy trailers that Games Workshop is releasing in my opinion, they have nothing. They are nothing compared to the quality of Astartes in depicting properly how Space Marines are and how they should be. I'm actually quite disappointed with the new videos or trailers from Games Workshop overall, because they are, I mean, sorry if I'm repeating myself like a broken record, but yeah, they are failing, in my opinion, to convey the fantasy of the fiction, as we were talking about, as with the illustrations that the illustration team is doing. But they are just trying to depict miniatures. So basically, what you end up is with video CG videos, animations of very fancy special effects and textures and everything, but depicting toys, which is very frustrating for me. So Astartes, on the other hand, it's more humble in that regard, but it completely nails, from a realistic and believability point of view, the fiction of Warhammer 40k and the Space Marines. So yes, absolute must. Pontus sounds like a cool idea. Thank you. Yeah, this thing with this series of illustrations, I think it's cool and it's something different. I mean, I just don't want to. I want to do something more interesting than just random fan art. I mean, to be honest, already on my client work, I'm doing already a lot of Warhammer stuff. So yeah, I know it will still be a little bit more, but still, it is an idea that's been in back of my mind like for a very, very long time, and I genuinely think it's a very good idea, something very interesting, and yeah. Patrick Can sounds like a great reference to their ultimate mood statement. There is only war. Yes, yes. And again, I think it would be extremely fitting for the Grimdark aspect, right, of the universe. Sometimes, I mean, not judging, I mean, but it's just like so often we get like these uh, tales of epic battles and meaning, right, to those fights and those sacrifices, when we know that war in reality is meaningless in that sense. It's all those concepts of glory and and those type of things are just artificial constructions after the fact, made by ourselves, right, just to give some meaning to that meaningless destruction, something that we can see now in Ukraine as well. So it's just to point out exactly at this idea, right, that despite of all that narrative of glory and purpose and everything, still the cruelty and the raw nature of war of is senseless and meaningless. And yeah, and I think it would be pretty fitting in that sense. I don't know. I feel it very. I mean, just exploiting that contrast, right? Always depicting these characters from that angle with the epicness, the might, the glory, and then showing how they end up, and is the absolute opposite to that narrative, and that contrast, I think, is what could make it very extremely appealing, at least for me. I don't know. Pontus. Oh, right. So you still, well, to be honest, I never tried to see it after, but yeah, I guess you are right. It has to be somewhere around there. Uh, Alao La Mana. Hello, Miguel. Haven't been able to catch one of your streams in a while. Well, here you are. Fantastic to have you here. How are you doing? And welcome to the stream. 1 second. You don't want to hear this. Yeah, I yeah, sorry about that, but that's what happens when you are sick. Go study your procrastinator. Fantastic name. Wait, you made the famous Putin Ukraine artwork? Well, I don't know. I have done one, but I don't know if it's famous or it is the one that you are referring to. Is basically representation of Ukraine as a female warrior that she's standing with a with the head of a troll at her feet, which happens to be kind of similar looking as Putin. Um, so yeah, that's the one that I have done. I don't know if that's the same that you are referring to. David De Luca, yes, I have seen it. It's amazing. Did you work on that? You mean the Darktide game? David De Luca, I will see Astartes. I'm still new to Warhammer 40k. That's why I don't know much. Well, no problem. But just be aware that once you get into it, there is no way out. It's like it's like getting addicted to heroin. I'm telling you. For you definitely want to give it a watch. He makes his marines deadly and fast. Yes, 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 yes. I mean, it is just fantastic. It is, and he does this thing that we are talking so often on this stream, and is that he just interprets things, to make them believable and to fit within the lore instead of just trying to replicate a tabletop game represented by miniatures, which is what plenty of people do and then, of course, fail. So it's kind of doing the same thing as the writers of novels have done now for more than more than a decade with their novels, but in a visual form, right? So just expanding and trying to make it everything look and sound plausible and fitting within the lore instead of just replicating the tabletop game. I mean, if you think about it, it's quite nuts, right? Because at the end of the day, the miniatures themselves and the tabletop game is nothing more than an attempt to represent a fantasy in a tangible way, in a physical way. But it's not trying to define that universe as in a cartoony way, right? It's just is a medium to try to materialize that fictional universe through the miniatures, but nothing else. But now they are falling into making the miniature tabletop game as if that is the universe. And of course it doesn't make any sense and is stupid, and it's kind of failing to understand what is the appeal of the IP itself. I mean, of course, I don't know. I think all these CG and animations that they are doing now, they are technically pretty nice. But I get the feeling that they have somebody in charge there that doesn't get Warhammer 40k. That's my impression. It's the same with the Horus Heresy trailer. I think it's fantastic in many ways. So I'm not just shitting on it. I think it's very epic and fantastic in many regards. But again, when I see that, I'm just looking at animated miniatures, but not the actual Space Marines, because all the proportions and all of those things are the ones or closer to the miniatures. But we all know that the miniatures are not representative of how a Space Marine would look in real life. So it kind of defeats the whole point of making a full CG and with realistic rendering and textures and special effects. Anyway, it's just me rambling about things that are not that important. But I'm a very hardcore fan, and those things matter to me. But I mean, I'm just at this point with all these things, I'm always speaking not just as a fan but as a professional, and that's my professional opinion as well. So go study your procrastinator. You should do one with Klaus Schwab. I don't know who that is. Sorry, who is that? Frederic, I'm fine. I work to my 2 stages and they are very glad of my work. Nice, man. Yeah, very true. So you already started. Nice. how are you liking it? Man, I'm so happy that you got the job. By the way, since I mentioned my course that it's starting the new term in the 17th of April, if you have any questions, of course, you can ask me anything you need. If you want, or you want to hear any how do you say, not and what's the word in English? Sorry. Not not interested party. You can always ask Frederic here, that he was a student of mine this last term, so you can ask him if he liked it or not. He will be free to say whatever he likes. So you can always ask him, and if you want to have a outside point of view of somebody that has gone through the course. If yeah. Anyway, Frederic, I know you already painted Gideon Ravener, and I think that could be nice to design his allies. In his novel, Gideon has many acolytes. Some of the members are very interesting. Oh yes, man. Yes. That was another thing that I had in store when I started with Gideon. Well, I also did Godwin of the Ravener team before I did Ravener. So yes, I totally agree, and yes, I would love to do that. So yeah, thanks for the suggestion, and I think I will do that eventually, because I love some of those characters. I think they're fantastic. Patient Keys, I think she's awesome. Also the damn, what's his name? The bounty hunter guy. I like him quite a lot. I don't know. I think there are absolute fantastic characters in there, and yeah. But yeah, going back to the Darktide release date, I'm so excited. I was actually, I'm still doing things for the game, still working on stuff, and I was just going through all the things that I have done for the game, and some of them I'm super cool. I'm super proud of some of those things that, of course, I cannot say anything about it. And I will not. yet, but yeah, they are gonna some so cool stuff. I think I will have to stop the stream pretty soon, because yeah, I'm start to feeling it on the throat. But the more and more I think about it, the more I'm convincing myself of doing this putting illustration after I finish this, and to do it during the stream and share as much as I can of the process. But since probably I will just use the stream to work on it, you will probably see most of the process. But yeah, all the things that are happening on the war are just kind of triggering my need to express in some way the way I feel, and I know the illustration will be controversial. I know already, because I have a pretty clear idea, at least the direction I want to go, and it's gonna be ugly. But the thing is just because war is ugly, and these people are responsible for very ugly things. So but yeah, if I do, I'm sure we will get visited by Russian bots. I'm certain of it now that I have this information, that they are getting paid to go after people that are doing this type of things. So and when I will be done with the tutorials for how to paint and draw Space Marines, I think pretty soon. So if not in 1 week, in 2 weeks, I'm confident that I will be almost done with all the episodes. I might ask somebody, perhaps. I would actually uh, I think that would be nice. But I would need some help because I don't have the time to do it. It will take some time, and I don't know if well, I know I don't have that time to do that. But since I have recorded everything in English, I think it is a shame that, for example, people, since I'm from Spain, I will love other people from that speak Spanish but not necessarily know English, that they could enjoy the tutorial. So to do some subtitles for it. So maybe I'm more than happy and open for some help if anybody wants to help with that, to do a translation, um, to add subtitles for the Spanish speaking audience. um, that would be fantastic. So yeah, if you think you would be willing to give me a hand with that, give me a I don't know, a direct message or something through social media, and we can take it from there. I am, like I mentioned so many times. In one hand, I'm so tired of the tutorials since it has taken me such a long time. So I cannot wait just to get rid of them and just release them and forget about them. On the hand, on the other hand, I'm also so excited just to share it with everybody. um, so at least if I will be super happy if after I um, publish the tutorial that we will stop seeing fan art of space marines with boyish looking faces. If that comes as a result of after people watching my tutorial, I will die happy because I touched this that subject. And like one of you mentioned before, I also talk about scars on Space Marines' faces and how that should be pretty commonplace. Mm, mm, mm. Lucius, hey man, hello. Well, thank you. It's not for looking fancy, but just because I'm sick. But thanks, man. Patrick, wow, beautiful, said Miguel, failing to understand the actual appeal of the IP itself. Yes, yeah. And I think that is kind of, I mean, I'm not surprised at the same time after being working with big corporations and big studios and stuff like that. That's what happens. You get a lot of people, and even though I know for a fact that they take great deal of care at Games Workshop of getting people that understand their IP, still it is there's always going to be people that really don't get it on that level, and I get the feeling that that's the case. I don't know. I mean, there could be plenty of reasons for why that happened, and it has nothing to do with this, and it's more like business, and they want to appeal to the tabletop game. Still an error, but maybe that's the reasoning. Could be, I don't know, but yeah. Go study your procrastinator. He's the founder chairman of the World Economic Forum, the guy whose slogan get echoed by all world leaders. He wrote about the plans on 2 books, the fourth and he's very much an elected world president, and most Western leaders are part of his. Man, I have no idea who that is. No idea, man. I have no idea who that is. Frederic, it's very the team is not too big. They are nice with me. I am not paid for the moment, but it gives me credit for the rest and good context. The studios are Folklore Games. Wait, Frederic, what do you mean? That you are not being paid? Can you elaborate a little bit more? What are you doing? I I thought that I'm confused. Maybe is it not the studio that you had an interview with to work with them? Is it the same people? And if that is the case, you are working with them, but you are not getting paid. um, please, Frederic, explain. Not 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 for anything particular, or well, maybe yes, but because that sounds wrong as you said it. Maybe it's me that is not understanding properly, but uh, Frederic, and thank you again for the class. I will post my illustration final render on Instagram soon. Oh, nice. Looking forward to it, man. Juan Toledano, and go study your procrastinator. Okay, just chill out, guys. Just keep it civil. Uh, um, David De Luca, I have a question about concept art. I have noticed that in many jobs ads, they ask for a concept artist who works both in 3D and 2D. Based on your experience, is 3D necessary to work as a concept artist? No, absolutely not. It is not necessary. And in my personal experience, I mean, of course, it depends. I mean, because concept art, it's a pretty wide field, and you can be doing many different things. So it depends. In certain areas, and 3D might be more useful. But I myself, yes, from time to time, I have had to use 3D, but in very rare occasions. So it is not. I mean, it depends on how proficient you are with 2D. So at the end of the day, you always need to think that either 3D or 2D are just tools. And for the most part, 3D, it is used because it allows to be fast. Yeah, basically that's what it is. It's just to make things faster and allowed more flexibility to change things and of that sort. But if you are very how do you say proficient with 2D, sometimes depending on what type of work you are doing, you definitely don't need 3D at all. So I would say that just by definition, no, you don't have to or need to know 3D. Now, that being said, if you do know a little bit of 3D, better than if you don't. And also, you need to understand that as a concept artist, the level of 3D that you are going to be required is on the absolute basic. I mean, you don't need to be a guru or anything. So it's always you're going to be using 3D in a very basic level. Of course, I mean, you can complicate it and go as far as you want as well, but with something very basic, it's more than enough. So I think it is, I mean, generally speaking, in many cases, you definitely don't need to know 3D. But if you know it, better. Yeah. For example, I would say that an area where I see that knowing 3D would be extremely useful, and not knowing it could be an issue, is if you are planning to work as a concept artist for films. I don't know, designing sets. Then knowing a little bit of 3D would be extremely useful, because you would normally have to work pretty fast. It will ask you from pretty often a lot of changes, let's say changes of perspective, things like that. And if you have the base done on 3D, you only have to change the camera, and that's about it. If you need to redo a painting completely from zero because you just changed slightly the perspective, then obviously it's going to take you way longer. So having a basic knowledge of 3D in that case, just to be able to construct the set on 3D, and then you paint on top of that, then will be extremely useful. Now, if you are working mainly as a character designer, I would say that 3D is definitely not needed at all. So yeah, it depends. So if you don't know 3D, you can you can work as a concept artist. But if you know 3D, even if it's a very, very, very basic, the better. So yeah, I don't know if that answers your question. Yeah, there you go. Again, I know that I'm a little bit behind on the chat, but go study your procrastinator. Just please chill, and there is no need to, um, yeah, yeah. Please keep it civil. That's an absolute must. So yeah, please. Braytech Serpa, this is looking awesome. Do you use 3D at all for stuff like this? Well, no. That's a good example. Yeah, no, this is just purely painting. So yeah, no 3D at all. Frederic, it's an indie video game studio, so don't have much money. Man, Frederic, so this is the place that they made you an interview. Okay, please confirm this before I just go ahead with what I'm going to say. So you are working for them, so you are actually doing work, but they are not paying you. Have I understood that correctly? David De Luca, because sometimes they advise jobs as character concept art, but in the job description they say they ask you to work mainly 3D. Well, man, I don't know. I mean, of course, it depends from places to places, and they are gonna ask for many different things depending on the different studios and for what they are doing the work. So it depends. In my experience, again, for the most part, you don't need to know 3D. Sometimes it's pretty common that they ask, well, if you know a little bit of 3D, that it's very welcome, but it's not required. Um, but yeah, again, maybe in there, when they ask specifically that you can work or that you work with 3D is because maybe in their workflow they are used to just they have a very specific workflow and that involves 3D. I don't know, so that's what they need. But that, especially for character design, I would say that that's not widespread. I'm just trying to think like in what cases they could ask that to be a requirement. And it's like, okay, maybe if they are doing, I don't know, it's a studio for CGI or things like that for cinema or TV series or stuff like that, and they want the concept artist to some degree to bring the concept to some level of 3D rendition, and that you do that yourself, then it makes sense that they are asking that. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, think of it that concept art at the end of the day is not about painting or about doing 3D, it's about designing. Concept art is a designer job. Painting or doing or sculpting in 3D or whatever, or photo bashing, anything, is just a tool to convey visually those designs. Um, so that's the most important thing to have in consideration. So if you can convey those designs in a readable and presentable way, just with some fast sketches with lines, there you go. That's more than enough, um, or should be enough. And no need to go fancy with 3D and stuff like that. But again, it always depends on the place, on the people that you are going to be working with, because maybe there's people that are not that experienced, so they need things to be very rendered and detailed. When sometimes when you work with people that are very experienced, then they don't need anything of that, and they just go to the core of the design, and just sketches are more than enough because they know how to read them, etc., etc. So it depends quite a lot, but again, in my personal and professional experience, for the most part, 3D is not a must. It's always a nice addition, but it's not a must. Yes. Frederic, they don't have a grant yet, so the directors of Folklore Gamer games must are already paid with their own money. So for now, we have to wait for the release of the game and hope for it works. They are the ones who agreed to give me my chance to have an internship, and I have no financial problem, so I accepted the internship. Same at OSAT, they tried to find grants. Hope that more clear. All right, Frederic, now I understand. Okay. I don't know the details, and might be good reasons for that being the case, but I would say that that is not a good thing. They are taking advantage of you, and they might be very nice people to you personally, but you need to get paid for the work that you do, no matter how they put it. If you are doing actual work and they are expecting to make money once the game is done, they should be paying you now, not after. As a golden rule. So I'm sorry to say, Frederic, but my recommendation is that you shouldn't be working with them if they are not willing to pay you, even if it's as an intern. I mean, an internship should be paid minimally, but it should be paid. So I think it's not a good practice, and they are taking advantage of you. Regardless, if you don't have experience, doesn't matter. You still are. I mean, they are asking you to do some work, and that work need to be paid. And if they don't have the money, then they shouldn't be asking people to work. So yes, I am pretty adamant with this. So because these have a pretty common common, but among this type of malpractices, this is one of the common justifications. It's like, well, we don't have the money yet. We are doing a great sacrifice to make this happen, and it might be true. I'm not saying that they are trying to do a scam from the beginning. They might be genuinely trying to do a pretty cool game, and they are putting their own money and sacrificing everything, etc., etc., etc. But that's their problem. It is not yours. And just by the fact that they are asking you to work for free for a commercial venture, because I'm assuming that they are trying to do a game to sell it, they shouldn't be asking you to work for free. They can do it because it is their game, it's their company, but not, yeah. So yeah, my advice as a seasoned professional is that you shouldn't be working for them. Sorry to say, but for your own good. Um, um, yeah. I mean, just think of it that, yeah, if it's going to be in that case, you could argue, yeah, but maybe I get some good experience, etc. And like you are saying, exposure and good contacts, etc., etc. Well, if they are, I mean, of course, I'm making a lot of assumptions here, so just bear in mind. But just from the outside, just by hearing this, again, from my professional experience, I can tell you that though that's not a good deal for you at all. Those contacts are not going to be that good, because if they had good contacts, they wouldn't be in that position to begin with. And that experience is not going to be that fulfilling or worth it, because it doesn't seem very professional to begin with, because they are doing it this way. So I would argue that it's better that you stay at home, you work on your portfolio on your own, and you focus on the things that really, really matter to you, and still wait to get a proper job, than waste your time working for free. I truly mean it with my best of intentions, Frederic. I really do. At this day and age, that shouldn't happen. And again, I get the the explanation that they gave you. Again, they might be super nice people, and they are not trying to scam anybody. They genuinely want to do a good game, and etc., etc. But that's not the way you do it, and it's not fair to you or anybody. So if they don't have the money, if they need to make great sacrifices until they release the game, that's on them, not on you. Um, all right, I need to speak a little bit. So yes, Frederic. I I truly think that you should stay home and work on your own things, and be more mindful into working on those things that you think can be more useful for you than to work for them. Um, just from the little information that you just shared, I think that would be the nice move, the wise move. So yeah. David De Luca, okay, thanks. Just curious, it's a bit confusing. Yeah, I understand. I mean, it can be confusing because so there are so many different type of job descriptions out there, and again, it depends so much on the studio, on the type of work that they do, what it's aimed for. So it can depend greatly. So yeah. So just to be safe, I would say don't worry too much. But keep in mind just to learn a little basics on 3D. Because it's going to be very difficult. I mean, very strange that they demand a very high level of 3D skills to be a concept artist at all. So, yeah. Hello, Lamana. I would love to know your early experience in the industry and how you got your first jobs. I'm about to graduate college myself and I will appreciate it, the insight. Oh man, I'm so tired. I'm sick. I That would be a long story. I promise you, if you come back next stream, remind me very early on, and I promise you I will answer. But yeah, I need to go to sleep because I'm starting to feel a little bit bad because of because I'm sick. So yeah, sorry about that. I promise you, please, I will answer next time on next stream. Frederic, I understand what you mean, but for now I don't know how I can do it, and it's not easy. I know, man. Well, if you want, we can have a short chat one of these days, and we can talk a little bit about that if you want. We can keep in touch through Instagram, I think. All right. Okay, guys. Sadly, I need to just close shop because I'm very tired. I'm feeling sick, so I will leave it here. Again, allow la mana. I will try my best to answer you next stream. I hope that you forgive me and that you will be back next week, and I will answer you. All right, guys. Thanks a lot for being around, saying hello. I wish you the best. Stay safe and sound for this week. Paint and draw lots. Enjoy it, and see you next week. Same time, same day, same time. Tuesday at 9 p.m. Central European Time. All right, guys. Bye bye. Take care.